Deep within the heavily shielded subterranean chambers of the world's most sophisticated particle accelerators, a terrifying consensus is quietly forming among top-tier physicists. A consensus so deeply uncomfortable that many respected scientists flatly refuse to discuss its implications in public. For decades, the matrix of mainstream education has conditioned you to believe that the physical world is a rigid, objective machine that exists independently of your presence, remaining steady, predictable, and solid whether you are looking at it or not. But modern subatomic experimentation has officially shattered this mechanical illusion, revealing a haunting cosmic truth. Reality does not actually exist in a definite state until it is actively observed. Imagine walking into an absolute void, a room filled with infinite hidden structures covered under vast silk cloths, where every single object remains entirely undefined, existing simultaneously as a chaotic cloud of countless potential shapes, until the exact microsecond your consciousness decides to lift the fabric. This is not a poetic metaphor or a philosophical concept. It is the raw, verified behavior of the subatomic building blocks that make up your physical flesh, your smartphone, and the very air you breathe. At the absolute smallest scale of measurable reality, atoms cease to behave like predictable pieces of matter and transform into fluid waves of pure probability, a shimmering realm of maybe, where an electron literally occupies every single possible location at the exact same time, waiting in suspense until an observer intervenes to snap that cloud of possibility into a rigid physical certainty.
The steady world you think you occupy is entirely built upon a fundamental subatomic deception. In your daily life, you touch a wooden table, lean against a brick wall, or look at the distant stars, completely convinced that these objects possess a permanent objective identity in space and time. Yet quantum mechanics reveals that nothing you see, taste, or hold is truly solid. The atoms comprising these structures are composed of mostly empty space, held together by invisible, vibrating quantum fields that refuse to obey the classical laws of physics. Before a human eye or a mechanical measurement device interacts with a subatomic particle, that particle refuses to occupy a distinct position or possess a definitive momentum. It exists in what physicists call a state of superposition, a mathematical haze of infinite potential locations. It is not that the particle is hiding in one specific spot that we simply cannot see. It is that the particle literally has no physical place to be until the act of observation forces it to choose. The moment your attention touches the system, the wave function instantly collapses, and the particle pretends it was occupying that single point all along, masking the fluid magic of the universe behind a rigid facade of predictability.
This disturbing dependency of matter on consciousness has been verified through the legendary double-slit experiment, a foundational test that has been repeated with absolute precision under every conceivable laboratory condition. When scientists fired individual subatomic particles, such as electrons or photons, through a barrier containing two parallel slits, they logically expected them to act like tiny physical bullets, passing cleanly through one opening or the other to create two distinct lines on the back wall. However, whenever the experiment was left completely unmonitored, meaning no measurement device was tracking which specific slit the particle chose, the subatomic units completely abandoned their solid behavior. They traveled through both slits simultaneously as a fluid wave of probability, interfering with themselves and leaving a complex, multi-layered pattern of stripes on the detection screen. The universe was actively holding multiple completely separate stories in its hands at the exact same time. Yet the moment a measurement device was activated at the slits to discover the truth, the particles instantly caught wind of the observation, abandoned their wave-like freedom, and fell into line as individual dots, passing through only one slit like obedient pieces of solid matter. The simple act of looking completely altered the physical architecture of the outcome. For years, classical physicists desperately tried to sidestep this eerie quantum behavior, arguing that there must be some hidden variables, a secret script, or an undiscovered mechanical mechanism operating behind the scenes that determines the particle's path without any influence from the observer. They wished to salvage the comfortable concept of an objective universe that didn't require consciousness to function. But test after test, culminating in the definitive violations of Bell's inequality, completely dismantled this defense, proving mathematically that there is no secret script hiding behind the curtains of the universe. The subatomic world truly changes its fundamental nature based entirely on your simple decision to measure it. If you choose to ask a specific question, the universe collapses into a matching answer. If you look away, it dissolves right back into an ocean of fluid probabilities. This leaves us with a profound cosmological realization. The old question of whether a tree falling in an empty forest makes a sound is entirely outdated. In the true quantum matrix, the far more accurate question is whether the tree even exists as a physical object before an observer enters the scene to give it shape.
The radical fluidity of the universe becomes even more profound when we analyze quantum entanglement, a phenomenon so alien to ordinary human logic that Albert Einstein famously dismissed it as spooky action at a distance. When two subatomic particles become entangled under specific laboratory conditions, they become deeply bound into a single, indivisible system, regardless of the physical distance separating them. If you launch one particle to the absolute opposite end of the galaxy and retain the other in a laboratory on Earth, the very instant you measure the local particle and collapse its wave function, its distant twin responds immediately, shifting its state in perfect alignment without a single microsecond of delay. They are not transmitting secret signals across space at speeds breaking the velocity of light. Rather, they are demonstrating that space and time themselves are completely emergent illusions. The entangled particles never truly stopped being part of the exact same unified whole. This reveals that beneath the superficial layer of separate objects, separate people, and separate timelines, the entire cosmos is held together by an invisible scaffolding of pure information and relational connection. A massive cosmic tapestry where your personal awareness is woven directly into the fundamental fabric of creation. The deep paradox of modern life is that our entire advanced digital civilization is heavily constructed directly on top of this quantum weirdness. The silicon microchips powering your smartphone, the lasers transmitting data through fiber optic cables, the MRI scanners in modern hospitals, and the global positioning satellites orbiting the planet all function perfectly by utilizing equations that flatly deny the existence of an objective, independent reality. We have built our global infrastructure on a framework that dictates that the world refuses to settle into a single state until it is engaged by an interaction. Some of the most advanced modern frontiers of science are currently exploring theories like orchestrated objective reduction and integrated information theory, suggesting that consciousness is not a late-stage accidental byproduct of biological brain chemistry, but an intrinsic, fundamental field of the universe, standing right alongside gravity and electromagnetism. Our physical brains are not creating awareness. They are organic tuning forks resonating with a foundational field of cosmic observation that actively sculpts the universe day by day.
The ultimate threshold of quantum strangeness is demonstrated in advanced quantum eraser experiments, which challenge our most basic assumptions regarding the linear flow of time and causality. In these highly complex setups, scientists prove that even if you allow a particle to pass through the double-slit barrier as an unobserved wave and hit the final recording screen, you can retroactively alter its past behavior by erasing the potential path information after the impact has already occurred. The moment the possibility of knowing the path is completely destroyed, the historical interference pattern suddenly reappears on the screen, as if the particle retroactively knew whether it would ever be observed in the future. The potential for future knowledge loops back through time to reshape what has already transpired in the past. This shatters the illusion of time as a rigid, forward-flowing river, revealing it instead as a vast, coexisting ocean of information, where your present attention acts as a powerful laser, continuously freezing raw probability into solid, real-life experiences. You are both the actor executing the performance and the audience member whose very gaze dictates how the script unfolds.
In this exploration of the subatomic matrix, we have learned that the universe is not a static mechanical machine running on a fixed track. It is a deeply participatory, fluid conversation that requires your presence to solidify into form. We have realized that your attention functions as a literal cosmic currency, an engine of collapse that continuously transforms raw wave probabilities into the solid events of your daily existence. If you are ready to stop treating your awareness like a passive bystander, break out of your historical conditioning, and step into your natural authority as an active co-creator of this reality, type the word observer in the comments below to firmly anchor your focus within the field. By implementing this shift, you will experience immediate practical transformation. The moment you stop passively absorbing your limitations and start treating your attention like a highly focused laser, the repetitive mental loops, chronic stresses, and artificial boundaries that used to dominate your day will lose their solidity, transforming back into flexible fields of potential. You will develop an unshakable inner stability. Your capacity to perceive hidden opportunities will accelerate, and the external world will gracefully reconfigure its events to match the quality of your observation.